chicken noodle code.
Alright, so that's not bad. I'm going to add some simple material, which is usually just a solid color. We're going to check that out. So if I'm in object mode, I select my my spaceship, and you can see that like here in the toolbar we have some of these little icons, and it's the one at the bottom saying material, which is already assigned, having access to a base color. So we could change that. And you get that little color picker. You can change it to RGB, HSV, whatever, and then apply like a different color. So now the thing is, it's set to blue, but I don't actually see it. It's because we're in flat viewport shading. We have to actually do the material preview, and then you can see the material like this. Even better if you want to do the render preview, which might take a little bit of time, but it does look nice. Here we can kind of test, you know, lighting and reflectivity. But for now, this is my base material that I'm going to use to continue modeling. I'm going to maybe add another object on top. That will be the window. It could just be a small flat cubey type thing that I'm going to flatten. So I'm going to say add in object mode mesh cube. Boom. Obviously the cube is now added somewhere random, and it kind of well, it's annoying, but I can reset that. So here on the right I have this little widget that I clicked on earlier to be able to edit those numbers. So I'll just null everything, and then yeah, we can use that to make a window 0. So X, Y. Okay, and then on the Z-axis, I guess, since this is still so cubey looking, I'm going to hit scale. I'm going to scale this down on the Z-axis to make it flat. Zoop. Yep. I'm going to use G to grab it, bring it forward, using G, on the X-axis, maybe right about here. I'm going to put that window piece on, and then I'll lower it with G on the Z-axis. Boom. All right, now let's say I want to scale this whole thing in the front so it looks more like a trapezoid. I'm clicking on edit mode. I could now just face select. Let's do that with the face selection mode here. Right click on the front bit. I'm gonna scale this on the, which axis is the green one? The Y axis. All right. Not bad, not bad. At the same time, I kind of need this to be at an angle, so we could now see from the side. Actually, oops. If I move this down using G and then Z on the Z-axis, you kind of see it being lowered in the front. Nice. Now with this one, I think it could be just a dark color like black. So I'm going to go back to object mode, and we're going to add a new material, which you have to click on material in the sidebar here, and I'm going to say new. It's now called material 001. I think I'm going to call this one material 2 instead, and then here we have a bunch of different, so material 1 and 2. So 2 will be using kind of a dark color, using this wheelie thing, like a dark gray. We could also kind of make it metallic. Let's see if that works. And there is a, yeah, I think a sheen. We could try that. I don't know how well this is going to be supported in the browser. No, it doesn't seem to do much. Let's undo that part. Subsurface specular. What's this? Transmission, volume settings, okay. I think that's good for now, just having a differentiation between the spaceship itself and the window. Now I'm going to bring maybe the back a little bit closer to the front. I'm not sure if I want to keep it this way or not. So how would I add my custom textures here? Well, I can select, let's say this part, we're going to go into UV editing. In UV editing on the tops you see like a left and right. So right now the entire thing is in edit mode, everything is selected. So all the surfaces are selected. Or you hit A if it's not selected. Let's say nothing is selected, you won't see the actual flat representation for a potential texture on the left. So we have to go on the right and hit A to make sure everything is selected. Now this might be tricky to actually assign textures to, as it's laid out in this cross. So we have to kind of redo the mapping, and that is usually under UV. We're going to do unwrap, and this will be unwrap angle-based smart UV project. Smart UV project, usually I try this one without changing any settings for now, just to see what it gives us. And then nothing happened. That's usually when you didn't select also all these surfaces, either by clicking and dragging across, which is not as easy, or you just hit A to select all. Now again, UV, unwrap, smart UV project, unwrap, boom. So this gives me all the parts of the spaceship unfolded, and this allows me to then use this in Photoshop, for example, to add custom textures. So we're going to go and zoom in on this a little bit, and we're going to say UV, export UV layout. This is going to be called QPNG. I'm going to call this one though spaceship new, export UV layout, boom. So this is a PNG graphic that I can actually open. But before we do so, we could also do something else, which is texture painting. So once the UV layout is in place, we could say image new. This will be called texture paint. And we're going to say new image, which is now created. The thing is, it's not assigned yet. This will be done in a different section. We have to switch to shading. So once we're in shading, you can kind of see what it would look like in a rendered situation. Even though it's not in render mode, we can also check that out. But the thing we noticed, it didn't actually take our texture that we just created, so we have to assign it. So this is something you play with or add via nodes. So we go into that section down here where it says add, and we're going to say texture, image texture. Where did you go? There you go. Image texture, boom. So I'm just putting it beside it, and then we could now say we're opening custom texture on our computer, or we're gonna just add from the list, which is that little picture icon, and I can say texture paint. That's the one we wanted. Now that is assigned in that field. The only thing, it's disconnected, so we have to connect it from color to base color. Boom. This is now replacing the base material with our texture here within Blender that I could now go and paint on. And that is something maybe you should consider, just to see which surface goes where before editing the other UV texture that we saved out. So I'm going to go to texture paint, and then here I have a brush, and if I start brushing on this, let's say I'm clicking on white. Wait, this is the left one is the color that we're painting. Let's make it white, and then I can kind of see where things go. So this seems to be the top. So I'm going to undo this. We're going to make the brush a little bit smaller, say not 50 but like 10, and then I can say this is top, and it doesn't seem to be the top like I think it is. So it's definitely yeah, so the top is here. Let's undo this. That's in the front. Okay, so this is the back. Okay, so this is the top. So I'm going to write top. And I think that goes for the wings as well. Awesome. And that is just the front. I wonder if this is disconnected though for the bit that's... So this seems to be split here. I have to be careful when I want to texture this. And the rest, I guess, is just the bottom, which is fine. The issue is though, what's the back? I think the back area is all of this stuff here in between. Unless I'm not sure. So the cool thing is you can also paint here on this side, and then kind of shows you where stuff appears. Ah, it's all over here. So this is the back. That kind of makes sense. Let's make this like red, and then I'm going to draw across that. Okay, so I have an idea. This is the part in the back, and then some random pieces here, which is interesting. So this is all the bottom bits, I think. Oh, those angled pieces must be what these things are. So I'm gonna use a different color here just to check. Oh no, it's those. Okay, so that should be the same on this side. And then what else? The front. The bottom is this. Okay, so it's also split in half. Oopsie. Do this again. So I've got to be careful if I want to put a logo or something here. And paint hard. See, we can change the brush entirely. I'm not going to do that though. What are these bits? So I'm going to try that from the texture side, just swapping to a different color. Maybe some green. What's this? See, I don't even know where that showed up. Oh, maybe there's tiny bits on the side. It's hard to say. Don't see them. They might be stuck inside the model. It's totally possible. See, like this, I don't seem to see anywhere. It's totally possible that's inside of the object. You can verify this by clicking viewport shading. No, don't see that. Oh. Alright, well, I guess one thing we still have to check is these side pieces. Yep. Yellow. Oh, these are them. Cool. So this gives me enough information to say like, cool, I want to add my custom texture and then bring it into here to replace this image. Some people like actually painting on the 3D object like this, just way more detailed than what I'm doing here, but this is really up to your own taste. So for this spaceship, I kind of had like some, space themed textures that I downloaded somewhere as brushes and then used them in Photoshop. So maybe a texture that I can apply, like a metal-y type stainless steel. So that's what I did here, and then yeah, I did some custom shapes and logos that I put on here as well. Chicken noodle code. Chicken noodle code.